what's up, y'all? It's Kayla, the CEO and founder of Time to Exhale Networks and the host of the Time to Exhale podcast. Thank you so much if you're tuning in via Facebook Live or if you're catching a replay either on YouTube or Apple Podcast it is. Thank you so much for listening in with us. Today I have some very beautiful women here with me. They're Millennial Moguls who have been able to take their mind and conquer all tasks, all obstacles at hand that have come their way, conquer them with fearlessness, perseverance, and consistency. So I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves, starting with Miss Chelsea on my left.
Hi guys, I'm Chelsea, known as the Modern Day Goddess, and I practice spirituality and coaching and motivational speaking.
Love it, love it. And Symphony.
Hello everyone, my name is Symphony, or you can refer to me as Symphony Speaks. I am the CEO and owner of Urban Culture Apparel, and also the Urban Get Down blog, soon to be magazine. So
Yeah, I like that.
Jay.
Hi everybody, I am J.S. Green, currently author, motivational speaker, and preacher, and radio personality for Unplugged Radio. Shout out to y'all.
All right. Well, as y'all can see, we have some millennial moguls, like I said before, who are doing their thing. And so today we're talking about mind over matter and what that looks like, what that sounds like, and what is it. So when I told you guys that the topic is mind over matter, what did that say to you? How did that speak to you? We'll start with you, Chelsea.
Start with me. When I received your email, and the first thing I was like, mind over matter. I'm like, Chelsea, you preach this all the time. You speak about this. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to you? To me, it's just drive and having the willpower and courage and persistence in moving forward and not letting our past thoughts and past cycles to just block us from our blessings and what it is God is really trying to give us, bless us with. Right. So it's just basically being focused on our goals, our desires, our dreams, and not letting anything, our negative thoughts especially, deter us from being on our true path.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So Jay, for you, being that you are coming from the perspective of being a minister, how did that speak to you?
It's very simple. I literally looked at it from the concept of, in life we have most of the things that matter, it don't mind. And the things that mind don't matter.
I like that.
And we tend to take these things and we literally, when it comes down to applying them to our lives, we overthink so many things. And then that also leads into delayment, detourment, and all these other things. So really, when we actually just sit down and just take it, mind over matter, honey, get over it and just do what it is that the Father's telling you to do. Don't overthink it. You're not gonna know the end steps at all. Most of the time, He give you A and He give you Z. He does not give you L, M, N, O, P. Okay, he just does not. And so sometimes you just kind of gotta walk that thing out until the end and keep the end in focus. That's what you're keeping in your mind. Nothing else matters.
I love that. Miss Symphony Speaks.
Yes, ma'am.
How did it speak to you?
So for me, mind over matter is just that. Like, you have to put your mind over what actually matters. If God gives you a vision, run with it. We all get the same 24 hours.
True.
And you have to be very strategic. That's what I'm learning on my journey. To be very strategic in my vision and in my goal, whatever God gives to me. Because coming from an entrepreneur standpoint, I can truly say that when I started my business, I knew God had given me the vision, and I wrote everything down because, of course, Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain.
Yes.
I wrote it down, but I was not strategic in my planning.
Right. That's good.
And which caused me to have to put a halt to my vision. And in that time, I didn't beat myself up. I noticed that God had started strategically placing people in my life that is going to help propel me to the next level and propel my business to the next level. So when it comes down to the same mind over matter, it's just that, like, you have to put your mind over what really matters. Like, if it matters to you, then you're going to go forward with it. But if it doesn't, don't worry about it.
Right.
Let it go.
So, in the moment that he had you pause, and you briefly spoke on it, but when he had you pause, what did he reveal to you about yourself outside of the strategy? What did you have to fix, hone in on?
I have to stop trying to do everything on my own. I have to utilize the people around me. I have a T-shirt. It says, utilize your resources, exhaust every option, do what they said can't be done. You know, and with that, I had to really pay attention to those words. I'm like, okay, God, you gave me these words. I put it on a T-shirt. I wear it proudly, but am I really walking in this?
Right.
Am I really walking in my truth? Or am I being selfish and holding on to this journey for myself?
Right.
Of course, in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my siblings. I'm doing this for the children that I don't have yet, but I'm setting something in place for when they get here. But God was telling me, like, okay, I gave you the vision, but did you really think that I was going to have you to carry this on your own?
Right.
Like, some things God will give us, like, okay, I gave this to you for you.
Right.
I blessed you with this for you to carry it, you know, for you to carry it. But in order for you to take it forward, you still need people with you.
That is true.
So I'm learning that I need a team.
Yes.
I need a team of people
right.
because I can't do it all.
Right.
I don't know everything.
Right.
Yeah.
You need people to help you with your budget, with your marketing and promotions, with your digital content, with managing your website, with coming up with different new, fresh ideas, someone to stay up on the latest fashions, trends, or whatever is trending. You need those people because, especially when you are, when you have so much on your plate, you need people in place to do those things, to cover those things, to have
cover
your back.
your guards, cover your weak spots too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Miss Chelsea, now you said that you practice spirituality, right? So, in your transitionary season, what did that look like for you, and how did it assist you to becoming the bold, courageous, fearless woman that you are now?
It took getting my heart broke for me to transition to that space in just trusting God, trusting the messages that He's given me, and stepping in that truth. So before, I'm very passionate. I love love. I'm the hopeless romantic. At least I
Still are.
I still am.
The boundaries.
But the boundaries I placed around my heart, it brought me to a place where God really broke me down to actually build myself back up.
Correct.
And it took a heartbreak and me letting go and just cleansing my area and just removing toxicity around me in relationships and within myself to actually step forward and allow God to help me have a smooth transition into, this new life, this new beginning, and just being open to receive the love that He has for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. It really is.
That's where I'm currently in with the transition.
I love that.
So it took me a heartbreak. Yeah.
And sometimes it takes that, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes He's speaking to us in the midst of, and we just choose not to listen.
Yeah.
So we have to go through this heartbreak and things of that sort. So what was the toughest moment for you, Jay, that broke you out of this shell of, I would say the word would be ignorance, and that just simply means not knowing, to this space of being enlightened?
Honestly, I have to agree with Chelsea. It was heartbreak in so many different moments of my life. I agree fully with you. It's actually something I actually say to this day, that sometimes the Lord has to break you in order to build you. And what I mean by that is, like, you go so long in your life thinking you got it. You come up with this way and you just kind of do it this way. And when the Lord came to me and was like that I had to rehab my life, and I kind of was going through this concept of what I thought that meant. And then when that heartbreak happened, He said, but you're doing it wrong, because you can't do this without a blueprint. You can't build anything without the blueprint. And the blueprint is my Bible. It's my word. And what you've been doing is you've been building on your feelings, but you have not been building on principles. And so that was like everything to me. And of course, because I'm in my feelings, where I'm like, okay, I'm in my feelings, I'm cutting you off, I'm not talking to you, I'm done. And the Lord began to deal with me. He said, hey, you're building your life on how you feel, and that is fickle. So you got married because you was in love and you felt like it. But then what happened when times got hard? You got divorced. You know, you had kids because you was in love and you had, oh my God, it's so cute for us to have a baby. You didn't think about the fact that they cost so much. I love y'all. But y'all cost a lot.
Right.
You know, but you didn't even think about those things. And when I began to backtrack in my life and realize I did so much just based on how I felt at that moment. And, you know, even in businesses, you feel that drive. And then all of a sudden, when it gets hard, you're like, wait a minute.
Right.
I don't really know if I bargained for this. But the one thing that does not change is principle. And so what enlightened me was like literally that moment to where I began to feel so much at one time to the point where I didn't want to do life. I was like over it. I was done with life. I was suicidal. I was depressed. I was all kinds of things. Nothing helped. Not my kids. I was okay. I was literally like, okay, my mama can take care of the kids. Like I was already looking at ways. Yeah, I was looking at ways to go ahead and exit.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't want to do it anymore. And that's when he told me you have to come out of your feelings. Get out of your feelings. Get into your faith and start building this stuff on principles, because that don't change. That work for the sinner and the saint. What you sow, that thing you shall reap. That is principle.
Right.
Period. The law of gravity. What goes up will come down.
down.
No matter who's throwing it up, it's going to come back down.
Right.
These are laws and they don't change. And that is the only thing that is concrete. What is concrete? Foundation. It becomes your foundation, and then that's what you build on. So that was my moment.
That's amazing. That was heavy right there. So Symphony, how do you find your drive to keep going in the midst of?
My past is my drive. Where I've come from, the environment that I grew up in, the will and the want to take care of my family. My grandmother is in her late 60s. She is actually the last biological grandparent that I have. Now I do have a step grandmother, but I don't refer to her as step grandmother. I just call her grandma. But yeah, so the fact that my grandmother still works, and she works very hard. She has always been a blue collar worker. Since I've been a little girl, and just the will and the want to take care of her and to take care of my parents. I think one day I asked my dad, I said, Dad, when are you going to retire? And he said, oh, I don't think I'm going to retire. And I was like, well, what about your 401k or whatever it is? Yeah. And he was like, oh, I don't, I'm not worried about that. And at that moment, I was like, okay, my parents are working to work.
Yeah.
Like, it was at that moment that I knew, like, I have to do something to take care of my family. Like, my parents and my grandparents have poured so much into me growing up.
Generational.
Yes, and I'm like, I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my children. Like, I want something different. And also my younger siblings, to give them something to aspire to.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want their first role models to be people that they see on television.
Right.
I want their first role model to be me. Right. And I want to be that person, or to be that light that will inspire them to get up and to start their own business, or to go to college and actually finish. Right. To work really hard to make a difference in the world. That's my drive.
Wow.
And to just inspire other people to do the same thing.
I love that. I love that. That's amazing. So in the midst of you guys becoming these women who are so very mindful, was it difficult to realize that most people wouldn't be able to join the journey with you? And if so, who was that person? If you want to say who they were, who was that person, and how did that affect you as you continue to grow?
Ooh.
That's a lot of questions. That's intense.
I'll go first. Honestly, at that time of my life, nobody got it. I mean, like, nobody. I think most people probably thought I lost my mind. Like, what is she doing? She say what now? She about to do, and to their defense, it was something that never been done. Right. No one in my family wrote a book. No one in my family travels and speaks. No one does the things that I do. And so, and this is another thing where I had to get this in my mind, like for real, because my feelings would say they're not supporting me, they're not backing me up, and I'm in this thing by myself, and all these things. My feelings just was taking over. They don't see this greatness, But then I had to take a step back And I had to realize that most people live life out of fear. So could it be that why my mom wasn't as supportive is because she was afraid of what would happen if it didn't work? Maybe she had a dream back in her day and it didn't work, or she was too afraid to do it. And so being the first, you have to understand their caution. Like, and so now that they see that this could work, it's like, and so that's what happens when you're a trailblazer. Sometimes you got to blaze that trail by yourself. You're the one that's on fire.
Yeah, that is
Everybody's watching.
Right.
You're the one that's going to burn up some stuff. You're the one that's going to open this thing wide open. But if you do it, then those after you will literally just have to just walk through it.
Right.
You've done it. You took the hits.
Right.
You got the thorns on you. You did it. But the trail is so wide open now that those coming after you will be able to just go through it. So for me, it was everybody.
Yeah.
No one got it.
Right.
Like no one. And the people that did get it for me, those were some of the people that the Lord was cutting out. And it was like, God, you taking my crutches. But he was like, yeah, because I need you to walk.
Right.
I need you to understand that you can do this thing by yourself.
Yeah.
You don't need people to hold your hand. And you've gotten so used to people feeding your confidence that you don't even know how to feed it yourself. So he started taking those voices. And then he said, when you don't understand the value of your own voice, you'll muzzle yourself. And so what I had been doing was I was muzzling myself and constantly checking in. Well, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
How about, and he was like, okay, so you know what? Okay, so I'm going to snatch that friend.
Right.
I'm going to take that one. And I felt so lonely
Right.
at a time. I mean, God, I felt like the world was against me and no one understood.
I feel like that's a part of the journey, though.
It
like
is.
you start to begin to feel like there's no one with you when there's all these people around you who are giving you all these accolades. Like, yes, you're doing it, but it's not penetrating to a level where I feel like if you weren't here, would I still be able to hear that compliment from myself and keep going? Or do I need you to tell me this so that I can keep going? That is a big thing that we have to get out of, is depending on other people to really feed our motivation and feed our spirits. That's serious stuff right there. So Chelsea, let me ask you this. What was a few of the bad habits, maybe one of them, let's not say a few, right? maybe one, a bad habit that you had to get rid of that really allowed you to fly in your new lane?
I would say seeking confirmation from outsiders, not really trusting myself, not really trusting. At a point in time, I had to throw out the emotions and the feelings, but I also realized my emotions is what guides me through. I would say I was more in my emotions than my mind, but I had to really transition through that to actually find more stability in the situation. So that was my uncomfortable process, but I'm grateful that I'm here now, actually going through it, and I don't have to seek outside validation on who I am. And I just had to honestly just tap into a deeper self-love and appreciation for myself, because some days, I have my mom, she's tough, and I have my dad, which he's very open and loving, but at the end of the day, I have to respect that they too have their own personal life and journey. And I don't want to be that weight, that burden, when I actually know that I can tap within myself and talk to God about what it is I am dealing with, and trust I can actually do this on my own. Well, technically, I'm not really on my own. But I know that if my family, I have a solid foundation of people who surround me, where if I'm not my best, I can lean over. But I practice not to bring that toxicity onto my tribe, onto my circle, because I understand too that I don't always understand other people's challenges. So I respect everyone's boundaries as they respect mine, but it's just me tapping into a deeper self-love and appreciation for myself, and not seeking outside validation. That's a
big thing right
there. And that's hard. That's hard, especially living in a society where you have to have this to be cool,
Right.
or be like this to be hip, or if you don't know that person, then who are you?
Right.
And I'm from the Caribbean, so you know I like a simplistic life.
Yeah.
Mm.
So being out here is kind of out my comfort zone, but I just really had to be like, Chelsea, it's okay.
Right.
We don't have this today, but it's okay. I step
Right.
out and it's there, and I'm like, okay. So I got more comfortable in stepping out and just trusting God and trusting myself, honestly.
I love that.
And here I am.
I love that so much. So my next question to you ladies is, have you all been in therapy, done a therapy session?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
What was your experience like?
The first time or the second time?
No.
Let's talk about the first time.
The first time I was like, why am I here? Because first off, you know, we don't do that.
Exactly, and that's why I brought it up.
Okay. We just don't. We're so used to holding it. And believe it or not, it was a gift from a friend of mine who thoroughly believed in it. And she also understands the walk of ministry. So it's that frustration of you can't really uncover yourself in front of everybody. And then who can you trust?
Right.
And so she was like, well, why don't you try therapy?
Yeah.
So I was like, I say what? I mean, like
You're
he a
crazy
whole,
if you go there.
yeah, like he a whole therapist, like a
Right.
doctor in front of his name,
Right.
like he can prescribe me medication. Kind of thing. And I went through the whole spiel, but when I finally talked to him, believe it or not, it was like a regular conversation. At first, I was like, you know, you're gonna write everything down, like. I'm low-key feeling judged,
Right.
you know?
Right.
I'm low-key feeling judged.
Right.
Right, just, you gonna write that down too?
Right.
Okay, but what I learned was that was really, he became like a wall for me. You ever play like tennis when you're hitting against the wall? And he became a wall to me. A lot of times I was answering my own questions.
Yes.
So he was just like that wall where he was like, well, what do you think about this? Well, what about this portion? Well, what if you try it? Like, he never actually gave me the answer. And before I know, I was like, I don't even think I need to pay you no more.
Right.
I think I'm good.
Mhm.
But no, I thought it was good because, again, it's a safe place.
Yeah.
A lot of times we bottle things in because we don't know what's safe. Sometimes we're too afraid to open up to a friend in case of past histories where a friend went and told all your business in that time, you know, or an ex-mate who all of a sudden is no longer your boo no more.
Right.
And, you know, or worst case, you opened up to somebody that you loved and they judged you. And so we tend to internalize it, hold it in, and, you know, especially in the day age of perfection. And I was a perfectionist. I felt like there could be nothing wrong with me. I had to always be on point. I had to always look the look, be the part. I always had to do it. And that pressure is unrealistic. It was killing me.
Social media is doing that to us
What?
too.
I mean, it was killing me. It was killing me. And so being able to go to the therapist, it really helped.
It did, right?
It helped. And
So
I
when
really
went,
believe
it
you
was
need
like
to
that
do
too.
it.
Yeah, I believe that any person who has not experienced therapy should go at least one time. And I say that because it really opens up your thought process to the thought, the feeling, and then the actual engagement and the application that you see in your everyday life. There's so many things that we don't realize that we started with as kids that have assisted us, aided us, or taken us down the wrong road because we didn't have the right foundation to how to deal with this thought, this emotion, then this feeling, this whether it be positive or negative, and then how we respond to people, whether it looks the same or not. It could be you telling me something that I didn't like, but because it triggered a thought from what my daddy did, now I'm mad at you, right? So we have to encourage our people to go to therapy to get that solid foundation. That's what assists with mind over matter, when you can properly put things in their proper funnels, right, in the proper perspectives. Do you take on yoga?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so how has that assisted? Because yoga is definitely one of those things that's very similar to therapy, where it helps you to center and focus your thought process.
Balance.
Yes.
So yoga is not one of my daily routines. My sister actually is a yogi, and hi, Leanne. When she was here, because she stays in the Virgin Islands, she just went back, but it helps me meditate and recenter myself. So before yoga was introduced into my life, how I tried to meditate was just sit in a park and just try not to think. Or go to a beach and just try to get out my head.
Yeah.
I need a distraction.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I need another outlet. So then my sister, she started her yoga journey. And obviously I'm like, oh, I'm flexible. I can get into this. But it really disciplines you to really be present and center yourself and block out, like close out your mind. And yes, and a lot of us, it's very hard being present because then you're truly connected and building like genuine, intimate relationships with people. And yoga, it not only creates that set point within yourself, but it also opens you up, you know, and it's not only within the different poses that they have, but you can, so much can come to your realization into your being just by just being still.
Yeah.
Just by being still.
That is true.
So yoga is not a part of my daily routine, but now I can go to a park with my mat and just sit and chill.
Right.
And it used to take me like 30 minutes just to get into that vibrational space. Now I can be driving and I'm like, oh, that's where I'm going, because I can just block. It's so easy for me to just block things off that are just affecting my mental space. So yoga definitely has opened me up to seeing that, you know what, I can actually tap back and I can actually find some stillness and be present without sitting directly on a mat. So that's how yoga kind of helped me transition into being more present without the actual pose and being on a mat.
Okay, that's really good. That's really good. I practiced yoga like once, and that was for college credit, and it was amazing. It was. I never did it again, but it was really great when I tried. So my last question to you ladies is, what is your mental mindset shift goal, if that makes sense? So what is your next level of mindfulness that you want to achieve?
Wow.
I know for me, I always focus on being better. Being a better version of myself than I was the day before.
Right.
And God, He deals with me in a different way that He deals with other people. I'm starting to notice that. I've never been to therapy. I've never done yoga. But a lot of times when I get home from work, I sit in quietness and still, and I allow God to speak to me, because oftentimes throughout my day I'm always telling God, listen, hey, so that's not what we discussed, or that's not what we agreed on, and God is like, so I'm not hearing nothing that you're saying, because I just Charlie Browned you, womp, and you're right. It's like it's not about what I want; it's about what He wants for me.
Yeah.
So, God, He reveals things to me in that time of quietness and me being still, and you know, that is my therapy for me. And I always try to challenge myself to be better. Like, how can I be a better version of myself than I was yesterday, last week, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, last year? Like, what is the level of excellence that we're trying to reach? Because I believe that once you master a level of something, it's time for you to master a level of something else. Once you have become the best in, you know, in your school, okay, it's time for you to become the best in your city, then the best in your country, or the best in your, it's like you have to set your standards higher in order for you to reach a level of, I won't say perfection, because that's not realistic.
Just the level of excellence that you want to achieve for you.
Yes, whatever level of excellence that is, because my level of excellence may look different from your level of excellence.
Right.
So, and I also believe that whatever you do it at that level of excellence, whatever that looks like for you. Don't try to, if your level of excellence is here, don't try to reach here, you know, before you're ready or before your time, because you can end up in the right place at the wrong time. And that could be very detrimental to yourself.
That is true.
So.
I love that. Jay, what about you?
You know, I'm in the process of dealing with things before it deals with me. And what I mean by that is, I've been doing, this couldn't sound weird, but I've been doing some kind of like mapping, or I've been like interviewing all my family members. And the reason being is because, like we were talking about, like things are revealed to you to where you don't realize that that's your truth until it's triggered, and then you're trying to figure out what is it even triggering. Is it triggering 32-year-old Jay, or is it triggering 16-year-old Jay? You know, and so what I've learned is that, again, there's a lot of things that I'm doing in this day and age that young Jay did not deal with. And so I'm trying to deal with them before they deal with me in a place I don't want them to deal with me in. And so I've been just kind of going back, dealing with past trauma and allowing myself to heal and transition properly. And not just in that, but listening to my mom's stories, listening to my aunt's stories. I've just recently been reconnected to some people on my dad's side of the family, which I knew nothing about. And so I've learned things about them. And so now I'm learning generational curses. Like, wait a minute, I dealt with that at that age. Oh, okay, so this is not just a J thing. This is a us thing, you know? And so I've been strategically strategizing and making specific prayers to target that one thing, so that I can literally live free for real. Because a lot of times we're in bondage, not based on what we did, but I call it blood bondage. It's something that generations before us was dealing with, and nobody actually took the time to deal with it. And so I want to be that one to go ahead and deal with it and break it, so my children don't have to deal with it, so my children's children don't have to deal with it, so the cousins don't have to deal with it. So that stops with you. It stops with me. I want to be the breadwinner for the family. I want it to stop with me.
Will be.
Yes.
Breadwinner of the family. Yes. Chelsea, what about you?
Well, the ladies actually touched on a little bit of everything, but for me, coming from generation and bloodline, I don't want to say curses, because from the Caribbean, we associate that taboo. But acknowledging that I am different and I am creating change on a generational level as well. And just working on being more present. Because then in that moment I am fully aware of my actions and also the actions of the other party who I'm in a relationship with at that time. Because I've realized from being present and being in the moment, sometimes I pray and I'll be like, God, I want this opportunity so much. I need this, and help me. Can you talk to me? Give me a sign. And because I am not present in the moment, God could be speaking right now. But because I'm just so caught on past situations and past trauma, in order to heal that and not create a continuous cycle within myself and within the relationships and people around me, I have to be like, okay, was that 16-year-old Chelsea kind of trigger coming out, or it just brings out things for me to heal and not create that cycle again. So right now it's just me being more present and acknowledging who I am in this present moment. Am I going to react 16-year-old Chelsea? Or we hopping on a 29 going on 30 train? You know, so it's just me bringing out another level of myself that God is calling me, life is calling me out to be, so I can be a better person. And not just for myself, but for the generations that are coming up behind us, and just be a positive light and guidance, you know, and give that love. So I'm just working on being more present, because I will not have it right now, but you could be giving me some gems that I've been praying for, and I'm like, I receive it. So it's me just being more present in the moment. Just I love really that. Being present.
I love that. That's so difficult, and I'm glad that you are putting some emphasis on that, because it is so very difficult. Well, ladies, we're about to wrap up, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in via Facebook, Apple Podcasts, or you're catching the IGTV replay. I don't know. Wherever you're catching this, thank you so much for tuning in to Time to Exhale Networks, where we have intentional conversation to influence our generation. Have a great day. I don't know if it's stopped or not.